welcome to another episode of KSP Resurgence. I'm starting again a tech tree just to get a few nodes because I did some off-camera science mining from our space stations. I feel like there's too much of that in these videos already, so I decided to cut it from the video entirely. Not cut it, I didn't even record it. Now, this is it. This is the part where we get to go interplanetary. So at this episode, we're just building the spaceship itself. So, currently designing the interplanetary vessel. I got the short-term habitation node just so I could get the inflatable gravity rings. Fortunately, I didn't end up inflating it because I didn't have enough engineers on board. Oh well. I fiddle around. I really want to do hydrogen-powered rocketry, just because it'd be easier to launch because hydrogen is lighter, but it didn't work out. So I just went with methane instead for our nuclear engines. So I did fiddle around with this, see what options are the best. This nuclear engine can use oxidizer for get better thrust but lower efficiency, and also be have denser fuel, but I just feel like that isn't really needed when you can use methane as a propellant. I just decided to go with bite the bullet and go with methane, just because it's always what works. I really wish I could have had a better interplanetary vehicle, but I'm afraid this is what we get with the designs we have. Besides, I don't want a lollygag anymore. I mean, I could use these gas core ones from Sterling Systems, but I feel like that'd be kind of cheating, especially the open cycle one. So I didn't do that. I kind of want to edit the tech tree just so they're a little further down. I can do that, but it's just been a while. I did goof around with procedural parts just to kind of make a spherical tank, kind of, just to see how that would work. It did work, but I didn't end up using it just because it looks kind of stupid. So, the first location we're going to go to that's interplanetary is Valhelheim. It's a rather large rocky world with 0.8 Gs of gravity, very thin atmosphere, only 0.1 atmospheres. Too thin for flight, but just thin enough to be able to aero brake and actually land using parachutes. Now, I will be going interplanetary next episode. I'll design the lander, send it up to the mothership, and go interplanetary. I'm not sure if I want to do the landing bag episode though. I kind of want to set up a crop colony just to make things easier for our future endeavors, because I don't want to have to orbitally assemble interplanetary vehicles or interstellar, but alone interstellar again. So I want to set up a colony. I could open up the Olia launch site that Kerbal Constructs adds, but I'm not going to do that because that'd be kind of cheating. I want to actually do it the right way. In case you don't know, Krob's Sanctar's second moon. This is the Celestial Harmony planet pack, in case you're wondering. Now this is the part where I launch the first part of the puzzle. I think I have to abridge a lot of this video, and I still ended up almost being half an hour. Please like and subscribe, and also share this video with other people, just because I feel like since it's a longer one, the YouTube algorithm isn't gonna promote it as much. Kerbal Technologies has had a lot of changes since I initially installed it. We got alcoholic Aeronautics. They can be hypergolic now if you want them to. The Terrier is a hypergolic engine instead of being a Carolox engine. So quite a bit has changed. Thankfully, it didn't really break any of my craft already in orbit, so that should be fine. We finally have 5 meager perks to make our big rockets out of, so we can finally do some things to make some actually really big rockets. Not like any huge rockets just yet, because we're not around that tech level. So glad we're almost ready for interplanetary travel. So, I did end up squeezing a fly-by-wire and a probe core in there just so I can control it and hopefully land well, not land, just have it crash into Kerbal. Although, considering it is using pentaborane, that probably isn't the best idea. Now, unfortunately, I did record all these launches at night. I mean, you can still see them, kind of, but I'm not sure if YouTube is going to make it super dark. I heard it has an issue with that. But hopefully you'll be able to see it clearly, especially when we get into orbit. At least you can't see the beautiful waterfall plumes from the Hydrolox engines, courtesy of Cryogenic engines extensions. Really great mod, especially if you love cryogenic engines but want more. I really like when the atmosphere gets thinner. It goes from like a red plume to like a bluish one. My only gripe about chemical technologies is that it doesn't actually change your waterfall plumes. I don't think the plumes on these engines don't look as good as other ones, but I mean, it gets the job done. Thankfully, this is the first part of the big spaceship, so I don't really have to do any rendezvous here. Fortunately, I do have to do a couple of really different, well, actually 4. I was originally going to do 3, but it didn't work out, so I had to do 4 launches instead. Because when I tried to launch the fuel tank and the engine, the final fuel tank and the engine, I couldn't really build a rocket big enough for the parts I had. I mean, if I tried hard enough, I probably could, but that'd probably be like really just a bad idea. Like, can I just do like procedural perks to build it? In procedural perks, does like have some things locked behind the science, but can I like actually build big like 7.5 meter perks with it? I don't know, I'm not sure. So what should I do after I go to Valhilheim? I'll probably go to either Rack, which is like Dres, but it's from Proxima's better Dres, but it's compatible with Celestial Harmony. It just gets renamed to Rack. And we also have I want to go there, and then get enough science to get a lot of nodes unlocked to make a really good interplanetary vehicle. That'll probably take us to the rest of this. That'll probably take us around the rest of the Harmonia system. So that's gonna be pretty nice. Gotta do a grand tour of Trom, and Trom is an oblate dwarf planet with a bunch of moons. Maybe we'll build a colony on one of them. Maybe Trom itself. I'm not sure if I want to colonize an oblate planet because I think it might be glitchy, but I am not sure. After Trom, I'm probably gonna go to Dazar, which is the closest planet to Harmonia, which is a star that we are orbiting. And it's a lava world. A black lava world that's very hot. Hotter than Moho, so if you play Kerbal, it'll probably be similar to Anaheg, if you are familiar with that. Then I'm probably gonna go to Magnifica, which is like a purplish magenta gas giant. Then I'll probably go to Glurka, which is a Hycean planet. And then maybe Gaia and Po, which is like these it's a planet that's the planet and a moon that are really far away from Harmonia. I probably won't go to Deception, which is a kind of like a rogue planet. Well, it's not really a rogue planet since I do have it set to orbit Harmonia. I mean, I probably won't visit it just because there's nothing really interesting. It's just a gas giant with no moons, so there's no landings I can do there. Hopefully some moons are added in the future. That'd be really nice. Maybe I can make some of my own. I do have a tiny bit of experience with planet packs in Copernicus, but I probably won't be able to do it. Besides, considering this is Celestial Harmony, I have some big shoes to fill. And I do not know how to do Parallax or Eve or Scatter or anything like that. There are tutorials, but I'll have to read those and actually learn and struggle along the way. But right now I'm going to focus on this channel. Of course, after I land on every terrestrial body in the Harmonia system, I'm going to go interstellar. I don't have wormholes enabled because I feel like that'd be a little bit too easy, especially with far future technologies. I want a challenge. Fortunately, it's a challenge I will get, since Celestial Harmony is not compatible with space dust, making it like 10 times harder to get antimatter and fusion fuel. To get stuff like deuterium, it's somewhat easy. Well, I have to get some mods that allow me to split water for it. And helium-3, I could like use rovers, but that'd be like really time-consuming. Antimatter, I cannot harvest. I have to make it. Thankfully, I can easily make fission pellets and turn that into antimatter, because a whole lot of interstellar vehicles that use the Frisbee beam core antimatter or any other antimatter engines typically have the really big ones tend to have antimatter factories that use fission pellets, because storing antimatter for a long time is a bad idea. You kind of want to make it when you use it, so that's probably what I'll do when I get to that point. Beam core antimatter is very long ways away from where we are right now. We're still only on basic nuclear thermal rockets, but hopefully we'll get there someday. I did put a lab on this mothership, so it probably won't take too long. We're getting a beautiful Sanctarian sunrise thanks to Scatterer, Eve, and plenty of other mods. I do believe Scatterer is responsible for making the oceans shiny. Also gives them waves. If you look closely, you can also see like the sand dunes underwater thanks to Parallax. I didn't see them. I never saw them with Parallax 2.0, but Parallax Continued, I believe, adds them. So that's really cool. I'm so glad Parallax Continued came out. For free, too. For volumetric clouds, I had to cough up $5. But I must say, it is worth it to get Blackrak's beautiful volumetric clouds. Anyway, after this, I'm probably gonna play Beyond Tome after this series, but it's supposed to be a prequel to this, because Celestial Harmony is a successor to Beyond Tome. It's not made by Lynx though. It's made by Proxima, who's another very good developer. Anyway, we're docking now. Our very first fuel tank. I mean, I could have just added the engine and called it a day, but I want to add a bit more fuel because I want this vehicle to go to more places than Valhilheim. I want to go to Rack. I want to go to Trom. Places like Trom and Rack are going to be hard to get to because they're inclined. Now we did end up losing that control of that rendezvous stage just because it ran out of electricity. Oh well, I'll just blow it up in the tracking station. We're launching the exact same rocket and almost the exact same payload. The only difference is that it has a different docking port on the front. I really wish this mod was compatible with Space Dust, but Space Dust doesn't seem to like planet system replacers. It just makes getting fusion fuels and antimatter so much harder. I'm not sure if I'm gonna do Beyond Tome next. I might like do a stock playthrough with like a bunch of other planet packs. I am gonna keep Cosmic Serenity in that because it is compatible with the stock system. It was originally supposed to be for Celestial Harmony, but it got delayed and ended up being its own standalone mod. which I actually think is better because more people can use it, so that's amazing. It is also compatible with KSS2, so that's pretty good. Then again, there is only so many planet packs you can install before your RAM explodes. I only have 32 gigabytes. I might have, well, not only, it's still quite a bit, but Kerbal Space Program might test that. I used to be really bad at rendezvous in Kerbal Space Program, but I've gotten way better at them. Still, they are quite monotonous and quite repetitive. It's always the same thing over and over again. Another issue I have is sometimes the crafts drift. So while I think that, oh, they're going straight towards each other, the target is aligned with prograde, so that's nice. Or the prograde is aligned with the target in this case. Or in every case. Actually, in a time warp, it starts to drift into another completely different direction. I'm not sure if that's intentional or if it's a glitch, like a phantom force or something. I'll have to figure. If you know what's going on, please let me know. There's also this glitch where when I physics warp, the target craft just moves in a completely different direction. So that's kind of annoying sometimes. Another issue I sometimes have, but I haven't had it this episode, thankfully, is when I try to face retrograde relative to the target, persistent thrust keeps forcing my craft to teleport to retrograde orbit instead of retrograde target. So it just keeps snapping into the wrong way, and it's really annoying. One time I had it snap that direction when I was about to dock it, and it ended up exploding my entire thing, so I had to load a quick save. I would have preferred to use the the hollow docking ports offered by Near Future Construction, but I haven't unlocked those at the time, so I decided to use these ones. Now, instead of crashing my rendezvous stage in the ocean, where I'll probably kill a bunch of wildlife, I'm going to crash into Krob just so we're a bit more environmentally friendly, because this is using some of the most toxic chemicals known to Kerbal kind. So you gotta be really careful with it. In fact, the Kerbals probably have to sign some kind of waiver or some kind of agreement that they can't sue PSC if they get like cancer or something from these rocket fuels. Launching a slightly smaller rocket just because it's just the engine. While the fuel tanks will be like 50, 100 tons, this one's only 14 tons. This rocket was a little unstable, so I did have to micromanage it a lot. Kept wanting to tip over, probably because it was super top heavy. But I did end up getting it into orbit. I also liked how the upper stage came out. I used a truss part as kind of an adapter, but I did have to use procedural fairing to cover it up. But that's what procedural fairing's for. Has interstages too, in case you didn't know that. This engine's from a near future spacecraft, I believe. It uses monopropellant, but with chemical technologies, it becomes a hypergolic engine. It's pretty cool. I do believe the creator of Chemical Technologies was working on a manga that adds more hypergolic engines, which I can't wait to see. I'd love to see that. But it is taking a while, but I can wait. I'm patient. We've waited. The whole Kerbal Space Program community is somewhat patient. We've waited for Kerbal Space Program 2 only to get slapped in the face by Take-Two and have our sweet game robbed from us. I did get a screenshot just there, that's why it kind of flashed a little bit. The Kerbal Space Program community has waited for a lot of things. And sometimes those things didn't necessarily work out, unfortunately. But thankfully it has a vibrant modding community that can make Kerbal Space Program 1 better than Kerbal Space Program 2. In fact, I have heard there are some people trying to trying to mod Kerbal Space Program 2 to make it the game everyone was dreaming of. Because even though KSP 1 can look way better than KSP 2 in some aspects, KSP 2 just gets some things better. Like for example, the Kerbals. The Kerbals have a lot more personality, they have 3D hair. There aren't any mods for that in KSP 1. Waterfall is pretty good, but I must say, the plumes in KSP 2 are just way better. We can't forget the music, of course. It has like a really good music soundtrack. Fortunately, fortunately, the game was shut down. Thankfully, I think there's a mod that lets you take that soundtrack and put it into KSP 1. But it's somewhat difficult to install because I think it's more difficult than other mods because it requires you. I think it requires you to put the mod files in places other than the game data folder. It should be kind of annoying at times. Also, obtaining the music files for KSP2 may be somewhat questionable. I'm not sure if the music files are just straight into the game files, or if you have to go through some kind of whole process just to extract them. You can just download them off the internet, but that's like legally questionable. I did play Kerbal Space Program 2, had a little bit of fun with it. Ah man. If only Kerbal Space Program 2 wasn't shut down. It was grossly over budget, so it was somewhat justified. I was gonna have this burn for a bit and then I'll go back to it later, but ran out of electric charge, so now it's just burning until it runs out of fuel. This engine doesn't have an alternator for some reason, so I mean, I guess that's how it works. Unfortunately, I did end up on a crop collision course, so we're gonna have to deal with this persistent piece of debris forever. And finally, we have the mothership assembled. Now all it needs is a crew, and for that, we're gonna take the Destiny shuttle, which I designed last episode. I'm really proud of how it came out. It's the first shuttle that actually worked that I've ever created. This launch wasn't as good as like the Megan flight, just because it didn't end up with as much fuel. I was doing something wrong, probably. I might design like a bigger shuttle for bigger payloads and more crew. I might also upgrade the shuttle just to make it better and give it more Delta V and fix some of the issues. Because rendezvous are a little difficult. I think it would be better if I move if I swap the locations of the crew compartment and the docking port. So the docking port's a little closer to the center of mass. Just so that docking is easier. I should also probably put some more RCS ports, because I didn't put any on the back because I felt like the engine would do that job. But I guess you need those ports back there when doing some maneuvers, when you have control towards the docking port. 300 meters per second may not seem like much, but it's more than enough to do rendezvous in orbit. Now, I did intend to make this lower stage recoverable, and it actually did work out pretty well. I don't have any landing legs because I want to land it in the ocean, just to make things easier. Fortunately, because our engine is so tilted, slowing down is going to be a little difficult. And I did end up losing most control of the probe because of plasma blackout, so I can only use full throttle or no throttle. We did end up slowing down enough to use our parachutes, and we did end up recovering the entire booster safely and soundly. And nothing broke, which is a big plus. This isn't career mode, so it doesn't mean anything, but I mean, it's pretty cool to say that you make a fully recoverable rocket. Not fully, the solid rocket boosters weren't recovered, but I don't care. Those things are a dime a dozen anyway. Now comes to the arduous task of plotting a rendezvous. No matter how good you get, you can't really go much faster. Still takes a decent amount of time. So much time, in fact, that this video ended up almost being half an hour. Bet you YouTube ain't gonna like that. I've said this previously. I think the sweet spot for like the YouTube algorithm is around 20 minutes. Because when I made a half-hour video, that being episode 2 of KSP Resurgence, I noticed it didn't do quite as well in terms of views. I'm going to put 5 Kerbals on the mothership. There's 6 in here just so I can land the space plane. I got the internal RCS mod, which allows me to have those hidden jets inside, which is pretty cool. Unfortunately, it was a little off balance, so docking was a little bit difficult. Not to mention that Phantom Force issue I did mention earlier kind of made it difficult. You can see when I time warp, the prograde marker moves for some reason. If you know what's going on, please let me know. By the way, if you are this deep in the video, thank you for watching this far. If you watched this far, you probably like my video enough to like and subscribe, so please do. It means a lot, and maybe this video will do better if you like it. I was going to try to use FreeIVA, but the command pod in the mothership doesn't have a front hatch, so I couldn't do that. Also, I couldn't inflate the gravity ring because I didn't have enough engineers. And I couldn't find a way to change that. Maybe I'll go into the in-game settings and change that, or maybe I'll send up an engineer when I send up the lander. That'll probably be what I do, but sending the whole crew back is going to be a little harder. Actually, it won't be harder. I'll just put a probe core on the shuttle, and then bam, problem solved. By the way, if you do want to appear as a Kerbal Knot in KSP Resurgence or any of my future series, please feel free to fill out an application. I have a form in the description that you can fill out, and I can add you to the series. Now, this landing did take me quite a few attempts to get it right, so I did have to load a couple of quick saves. I really wanted to land at the Kerbal Space Center, but I kept undershooting it, so I was like, you know what, I'm tired of this. I'm just gonna land in the ocean. I mean, I have landed space planes before, plenty of times before, but there's this. I had to do an unpowered landing because we're out of fuel and the engine won't work well in the atmosphere anyway. So I just decided to land in the ocean. If this had a power descent, I would be way more comfortable. Besides, if I did undershoot or overshoot, I could just fly back to the Kerbal Space Center. Now, unfortunately, that is going to be the end of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you all later. Bye!